Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another week of the Rebuild podcast. It is Beth Borody and Carmen Turner here for another week, another conversation. And today we thought we would have just a little bit of fun because both Carmen and I recently have been having fun in our own brands and our own companies. And we've been doing photo shoots. We've been looking at who we are as individuals and what our brands are. And as we were just kind of comparing notes and chatting, we thought, why don't we bring this to the pod? And why don't we actually talk about this all together and about the importance of a brand and why we do branding and all of those types of things? And so that's what we are going to kick off today. But first, Carmen, how are you doing? How are things going?
I'm doing great. We're fully into fall here, getting ready for the week of Halloween next week. And yeah, I feel like everyone's looking at like Q4, the final stretch of the year. And then, yeah, I like this time of year. It's so exciting. There's so much jam packed in. And I actually love the topic that we're going to talk about today. So I'm
Mm.
excited to dive in.
Well, I just had an idea, and so tell me if you want to go with this or not. But when we were talking about both of our brands, I think both of us know each other quite well, and especially the work that we do quite well. I'm going to explain your brand, how I think you show up, and I would love for
Mm,
you to explain my brand and how you think that I show up and talk
great
about kind of
idea.
what you've done. So I'll go first so I can give you some time to kind of think about this as I just
Mhm.
threw this on you. But when I think of Carmen Turner and the work that you do on the sustainability side, especially with the newest photo shoot that you just did, you immediately know that you deeply, deeply care about the environment and world around you, and that you show up in such a strong power, but it's almost like this subtle strength. Like you show up with nature around you. You show up in these beautiful kind of soft colors, but very vivid, vivid colors. And you show up in a way that is like, I'm here and I know what I'm doing. And I love the work that I'm doing. And then when you start talking, so that's like the image piece. When I see images of you and how your photo shoots and how your brand comes together. And then when you start sharing about what you know, it is just like an expert level when it comes to sustainability, unlike anything else that I've seen in the industry, really. It's not corporate, it's not like your typical consulting. It really is about the people and the planet combined, and really that's specificity that you have with women to really bring women to the forefront on how sustainability is going to thrive and how you implement it and how you build it. And I think as I've watched your own evolution throughout the years and since I've known you, you've just got more and more grounded in that and more kind of like niched and specific on who you want to work with and what you are trying to achieve on that sustainability front. And I think that the imagery that you use and the words and the language are just so strong. Like that's the word that I get is just strong, but like not in your face or aggressive, but just very confident and strong in what you offer. That's how I would describe you.
Wow, thank you. You're hired. You're gonna be
All
my
right.
Tree Payne, Taylor Swift's PR
Perfect. Perfect.
machine. My gosh, I'm so touched and glad and amazed that you pick up on all of that because that is definitely what I hope to capture when you and I, we both have strong visions for our career, our businesses, and who we want to come along, the type of people that we want to come along with us. And when you create this brand and you have the visions in your head, your vision board and the inspiration, like this is what you hope it evokes in other people. So
Mhm, mhm,
that's
mhm.
wonderful
Yeah,
to hear.
that word evoke too, like that is what you do. Like I think
Mm,
especially like this latest shoot that you did, like it does. It invokes that feeling of like I don't care who you are, seeing you in that nature in the forest around your house, all of those things, it evokes that need to protect that and to keep that
mm.
sacred and to keep that like thriving and alive. And then you like being in that is just like a very kind of like powerful statement. So it does, it evokes a lot of emotion and a lot of kind of reaction to those photos in a really like beautiful way.
Well, I thank you so much for saying that because as we both have these ideas and this vision of what we're creating, and I think you tend sometimes as a founder, you think like, are people gonna get it? I don't know if it's
Totally.
like that for you, but I'm just like, especially because it's what we're doing is so different. Like nobody's done what we're doing before. I've
Mhm,
never seen anyone doing what I've done before because, and
mhm.
I've created this because I know I could have used this like 10,
Yeah.
20 years. Like I could have used this kind of mentorship, this community, this support. Um, so yeah, it's so refreshing to see that
Mm.
that's what you see. Okay, so I'm gonna go for you with you. When I see your brand and your beautiful photos, done by our friend Meg Witt,
Yeah.
and all the like the color, the whole branding, and then also obviously the message that you have, I just see, bold.
Mm.
I see bravery, confidence, fearlessness, like, just throwing yourself into I'm just I it's like a rocket ship. Like, I just see,
Yeah.
like, wow, she's really going there? Like, wow, I can't but every day, I think I say, "Wow." When I see her
I love that.
social media yeah, I do. I'm like, "Wow, she" and then I also think, like, she is going first. Which is so
Ooh, I like that.
yeah, she's going first and she's showing everyone else how it's done, and
Mm.
everyone else is here for the ride to kind of, like, observe and then see what is possible.
Oh my gosh. I mean, thank you for saying that because I think that that is really what I try and do. And I am most of the time, I'm confident in doing that. And also, there is like fear in doing that as well. And
Mm,
thinking like, will this be the last time that this works out for me before it all blows up in my face? Or will this be the last time that I can be this bold before
mhm,
people start not liking it anymore or things like that? But I keep trying to show up. And I mean, all of the words that you just used are like my words that I try and embody as much as possible.
mhm,
Um, because of the same thing that you just said, I don't see any other women in the woman in the industry doing what I'm doing or speaking the way that I'm
mhm,
speaking or acting the way that I'm acting. And maybe that's
mhm,
delusional and maybe that's for a reason, but I'd like to think that it's because we've we've just like have not had permission to show up this way and we have not
mm,
had permission to talk in this way. And I it's just naturally who I am and how I want to show up. So I do try and like really build that with the photos that I do, with the thought pieces that I put out, with the brand that I've created for myself. I try and like do that juxtaposition of like this bold, confident kind of corporate individual coupled with like this person who just loves to grow vegetables in their garden and
mhm,
spends like 90% of my time staring at my plants in the summer. Like,
mm,
and they're like holding these two pieces together to try and create something for women to gravitate towards to say, I want that too. I just want to be free like that. I want to be able to speak like that. I want to be able to just let my hair down like that. And that's like the whole point of what I'm trying to do.
I think that's such a good it's all of you. It's all of the pieces of you. Like we've always talked about this. You bring all of yourself to work because they're not separate, right? Like it is
Mhm,
you, and that's going to be so important moving into the world that we're moving in with
mhm,
the rise of AI, with social media. That's what's going to set you apart from everyone else. That is being seen as this expert, as you have the real world experience here and then also, it's not performative too. Like
mhm,
you really just are showing up as you are. You're showing the messy parts too, as well as like the beautiful photo shoots, which we do love to see
mhm,
because that, I mean, both are important because the messy shows that you're human and that you are just like everyone else and that we don't all have it together. Like none of us do.
I will say that I'm pretty sure at this point, part of my brand is people going and seeing how many spelling mistakes or grammatical errors I
Yeah.
have in any of my social media posts because
Yeah.
they happen all the time, even when I go and double check my work. Like, I think people just think that I just don't double check. Even when I do, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to catch them. And I said this to someone commented on one of my posts because I put this out there being like, I make mistakes and that's that. And they said like same or something like that. And I said, it's just what's separating me from the AI bots right now because AI
Oh,
doesn't
yeah.
make mistakes like this. And so at least it shows that I'm human and have some sort of like, I am doing this myself behind the screen.
Well, I have this a weekly email that I send out to my community. I will put the link in the show notes if anyone wants to sign up to it.
Yeah.
But my mom would, she would, like, reply to the email because, of course, she's on the list, and she
Yeah.
would point out my spelling mistakes and
Boy.
grammatical errors.
Thank
She's
you,
like,
mom.
"Carmen, I love what you're doing. Just a note, da, 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 here, you spelled this wrong, and this is how it's spelled." I'm like, "Thank you, mom."
Uh,
But no, but, what I want to say too is what I love about your brand is also how much detail you've paid to creating a vision, because I know that that's something I've thought about too, is especially with what I'm doing, is that we focus so much on the problems, especially with the environmental crisis. We're inundated with the problems. We don't spend enough time in what is possible, what solutions could be, and our role in that, and that we can contribute
mhm.
to that. So I love how you've done that too, is really thought about what could another world look like, and creating a strong vision that others can be inspired by and empowered
Mm.
by.
Well, I appreciate that because again, and I think founders feel this quite often. It's what I'm trying to do, and you never quite know if you're totally doing it. You never quite
Mhm,
know if it's landing. And I actually said it to a woman today on a call. I said the whole point of what I try and do is just try and find leverage points and actually take action to try something, to try and create something new. Because if I just keep talking about the challenges that I'm seeing or just keep talking about how bad things are or this or that or how poor representation for women is without actually trying to do anything different, then I'm just adding to the problem, not actually doing anything to try and
mm,
solve it. And I am someone that has to do something to try and solve it. Like I have to try and be creative. And I think that just like having that brand, and I've watched my brand evolve. Like I think the very first like brand photo shoot I did was actually the one you set up for me a few years ago out in Vancouver
uh-huh.
when I was blonde. It was my blonde era.
Mhm. That was so
And
fun. We had such
oh
a
my
fun day.
gosh,
I'm like, "I
we
can't
had
believe this is our
such a
work."
fun day. I know, such a fun day, and honestly, I still use those photos all the time to this day
Yeah.
because they're just so beautiful. But it was that first time when I really got to think about how do I wanna be portrayed, and I remember I brought my feminist leather jacket, and, we got, like, this big bouquet of flowers, and it was really this moment for me of, like, encompassing the energy that I wanted to feel. I wanted people to know that I was here for women and that I wasn't afraid to push boundaries and that I had it, but I was very new to it. And then as like my brand has evolved, because I think the thing that people don't realize is you have a brand whether you realize it or not. People
Mm,
perceive you and see you in a way whether you mean to or not. And so if you can take ownership of that and craft that how you want to be seen, whether that be through images, through writing, through whatever that is, it's so important to do that. And I've watched my brand evolve as I evolve as a leader, as I
mhm,
evolve in my career. Like even the last photo shoot I did last year, the images were like very strong, very kind of like more fancy, more high end, more luxurious, these sorts of things, because I was really pitching a lot of what we were building with Femina. Where
mm,
this year, one, I just did one yesterday, and with the same photographer, our coach, Meg, who came up and did the photos, I told her as we were planning for it, I said, I want to pull that back. I want to like tone down that need for that luxury and I want to just be me. I want to show that you can be
mm,
doing really incredible, bold, powerful things and you can do it like not needing to wear a power suit. I mean, I got some great power suit shots, but like again, showing that whole person and showing like
mm,
what does it mean for me to be a leader now? And I wanted it to feel calmer, more at peace, more fun, more just like everyday life. And that's what happens as you evolve and as you do more things, your brand does that with you. And I think it's such a fun thing to be able to help, like, or not help, but totally own and craft and build as you as a leader grow as well.
yeah, I love that, and I've had the opportunity to see some early photos, and I can't wait for you to share it. They're
I'm
really
like
good. I'm
checking my
not gonna say
email.
anything.
Honestly, I'm checking my email every like 5 minutes. I'm refreshing to
Yeah,
see if she sent me the gallery
I
yet because
can't.
I know she'll turn them around so fast.
Oh,
They're
can you share
beautiful.
the gallery with me? I can't wait.
A
I'm gonna
hundred
forget.
percent. Yes. You'll be the first one I send it to for
I'll
sure.
send you mine from Robin's shoot, and then
Please,
we can
yes,
okay.
absolutely. And, like, shout
Okay,
out
so
to these 2 photographers because we
oh,
worked with both
yes.
of them, and they're both
Yeah.
absolutely amazing. So we have Meg, who is actually did all of our branding for this podcast, was
Mhm.
all the original branding that we've had. That first shoot I did was with Robin, who you introduced me to out in Vancouver. Meg shot both of us. Like, they're just phenomenal women in their artistry and how they capture other women.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. They're the best. I'd highly recommend them. Maybe we can capture why doing photo shoots is so
Mhm.
important as part of your brand. But I want to talk about why build a brand in the first place.
Mm.
Like even if you're somebody who is not doesn't have you're not an entrepreneur, you're working for corporate and that's where you want to stay. I think today is so important to build a brand. And then we can look at like how do you start? Like how do you start building your brand? So
Yeah.
any thoughts on, like, why do you think it's important that women really build a brand today?
I think it is important. And again, I think it's happening whether we know it or not. But I think the importance of owning it is because you want to be the narrator of your story. You want to be the narrator of how you're showing up and what differentiates you in this world of social media and the internet. You can't hide anywhere. You have a LinkedIn profile, you have an Instagram profile, you have website. If you're on a company website, people can Google you and find out where you work, these sorts of things. And so instead of letting that kind of dictate what is seen of you or what is portrayed of you, really owning that is a good thing. And especially if you're growing your career in whatever sense that is, if you want to get the next promotion, if you're moving into leadership roles, if you're moving out on your own, your brand is going to be what helps you get there. And I remember when I really started doing this, when I was working with New Gold and I really was building my own leadership and wanting to be seen as an industry leader, I was really building this on LinkedIn. And it was through how I was showing up, it was through what conversations I was like taking part in online. And it was one of my really good girlfriends. She's a PR and comms expert. She's absolutely brilliant. And I remember her telling me, she was like, the best thing you could do for your brand with like thought leadership, because that's kind of where I was at the moment. She said, was just write articles about conversations that you're having. She goes, they don't have to
Mm,
be like super thought out. They don't need to be like super like intellectual or, that sort of thing, but just write about what you're talking about in the industry. And so I committed to doing that every week. I put out an article based on conversations for 6 months, and that
mm,
set me apart more than I could have ever imagined. And it was like
mhm,
I started being known as like this thought leader in the industry for a wide range of things. And then coupled with how I wanted to show myself with images and that sort of thing, it all kind of grew together. But I think it's so important for women to have this because, again, you want to be the one that owns your story and owns who you
mm,
are in your role and your company or your job or your life, whatever it may be. And it's just a lot of fun. Like, it's a lot of
mm.
fun to build a brand and to build what you want the world to see of you.
I agree. I agree. I think that I love that tip. Like, it's so important to have conversations to connect with people just for the sake of connecting them, like,
Mm,
without the thought, "I need to get something out of this," but, like,
mhm.
what am I gonna hear? What am I gonna learn? How can I contribute? And that how that can add to your what you were doing with your articles. I love that. When I think about why it's important too, I mean, a brand, if we think about what it is, it's really what sets you apart. What is
Mm,
your voice that you're bringing to it? What is it that you wanna say? What's the thing that you bring? What's your skill set, your gift, and your IP. Like it can
mhm.
even the more you start to tease that out, then you to lean into what's the work that you want to leave, what's your legacy, your purpose, and that can all come out through your brand.
One of the things that we do with our experience program with the retreat at Femina is we bring a photographer in, and we bring a photographer in specifically to capture women one-on-one directly and then like as a group. And when we did this in June, I remember a lot of the women from the cohort kind of messaging me beforehand being like, what's this photographer doing here? Like, I'm not really comfortable in front of the camera. Like, I don't know if I'll participate in that part. And I was like,
Yeah.
sure, but, like, just wait, it's gonna be a lot of fun. Totally a highlight, and the photos that each of them got of themselves, like, when you
Mm,
see that reflected, when you have a really good photographer and you see yourself reflected, you're like, my gosh, like,
Yeah.
I'm incredible. I am powerful. I'm incredible. I'm confident. Half of those women, it's now their LinkedIn profiles from that shoot. It's like they leaned into it. They
So good.
absolutely loved it. And it's that creative expression of who we are. And it is one of those things that, like, again, you get to build, and it's just such can be such a powerful tool for setting you apart and for saying, here's who I am and here's how I represent myself without that needing to just kind of get lost somewhere
Mhm.
in someone else's opinions or whatever it may be.
Yeah, I love that. I love surprising women with, like, like, this is like, I remember the first time I saw the photos from my first brand shoot, I was the same. I was like, it's so awkward. I don't know what to do in front of the camera.
Yeah.
And so it is a bit of a skill that you learn, but if you have a good photographer, they'll prepare you for sure, like
Yeah.
how to move and all that. And it's so fun to see those photos come through and really be like, yeah, that nailed exactly what I was going for.
How would you see your own brand? Like, how has it evolved and how you've represented yourself within different, like, imagery and things like that?
I think so it kind of changes as I change and as I grow and as, like, the vision for my business and my community shifts too. So when I started, it was a little bit more like corporate, but I feel like I want to bring myself into it a little bit. So it was a little bit more reserved. And then it went full on like way more like flowy, relaxed and by the water. And so that was fun too. But now I feel like I've come back to this. Exactly what you said is being I mean, I live in a rainforest, so that's my brand.
Mhm,
I live
mhm.
at the edge of the rainforest right on the water. So that is so much a part of and this is where I work, this is where, I play, and it's not separate from my life and who I am, and actually it's the heart of why I do this in the first place was my childhood being in the forest and
Mm.
remembering that we are part of nature. Business is part of nature. We're in the community. We we need to start acting like that and changing our businesses so that it reflects that more closely. And so I think that yeah, that's sums up how I see it.
I also think that anytime I've gone to your place, there is this just natural relaxation energy that just comes over me every time I drive to your house. Like, the second you are in that forest and you are amongst those trees, like, just even driving through, you can't help but just take a moment and breathe and pause and be like, "This is incredible." Like, you live in a magical area. Every time I talk about your house
Mm.
or where you live, like, she nailed it. She nailed it for where she lives.
Well, it's funny because, like, this all wasn't by accident too, like,
Mm,
we had a strong vision for where we wanted to be, which was on the water, which started almost 20 years ago, I'd say, and we
mhm.
eventually got, like, into this neighborhood and onto the water, and part of my brand and what I do is I wanna share that with others, so I'm very excited about our brand new newly renovated suite, which will be converting into an Airbnb, but also where I'll be hosting retreats
Yeah,
too as part of my programs.
yeah,
And experiences as well. So I'm really excited about that.
yeah. I mean, that feeds really well into, something that you said right at the beginning about a brand being, like, authentic and you and not performative, and can you speak a bit more to what you mean by that or when you see brands that are performative?
I think when sometimes you'll notice like people may be showing up like where they're not sharing the silly sides of them or they're not really sharing like everything has to be buttoned up and it's not such a big deal like if that is your brand that's fine but allowing to show the I guess like the warts the things that are
Mhm.
not and that you're human something that's like relatable in some way it was like I was watching Victoria Beckham interview on Alex Cooper's Call Her Daddy this
Yeah.
week. I love because for the first time that I think she really opened up, and she's also got this documentary out, but she started to talk. She would talk a little bit about her eating disorder that she had. And then she would pull away and say, "But I'm not complaining, I'm not like," she tried to put a bit of a band-aid over it, not like share. And then Alex said, "No, no, no, wait. That is what actually people want to hear because that's relatable. Can we go a
Yeah.
little bit, And so that's part of it too, is like
Mhm.
sharing the things that make you you and that you think it's, "Oh, that's easy. Nobody wants to hear about that." It's like, no, that's what actually people want to hear
Yeah.
about.
I will start following different people on social media platforms or kind of as I kind of look for new inspiration. And if like in a month's period, all I see is that every day or every week or every month has been nothing but just like overwhelming success and incredible and just happy and this and that, I will unfollow them because I'm like,
Mhm.
I don't like not that I don't want to see success, but it's like there's something missing here
Mhm.
and there's something that just doesn't feel real. Being a founder, being someone who has built a business for the
Mhm.
last 5 years, it is not all sunshine and rainbows. It is more
No.
hard than it is easy. And you have more harder times than you have good times, especially at the beginning, in my opinion. And so when it is just that, like, nothing's going wrong, nothing has been a challenge, I haven't met an obstacle, everything is just like extremely good. I think okay, something's off here and it's not what I want. And I think it's a balance because you don't want to just be like trauma dumping on social media, but there is
Yeah.
also that like realism of being able to like say, shit, that didn't go the way it was supposed to, or oops, like we totally messed that one up. Or,
Yeah.
what we're trying to do with Femina right now, being like, listen, we knew that we were like no longer serving our members the way that we thought that we were this year. And we had to go through a whole rethink about what were we going to offer in 2026? How do we get back to our values? How do we get back to our
Mm.
brand? Because we were growing, but were we growing in the right way? No, we weren't. We were growing by numbers, not by kind of depth and quality. And so needing to like talk about that and share, Peggy and I sharing about how we were at like odds with each other and we needed to really like sit down and figure out how are we leading this thing together. We needed to put our egos aside. Like we purposely have been trying to be really transparent about those things to try and get through that narrative of like everything's just perfect all the time and everyone just has all of their shit together all the time, because the reality is you don't. But that is also part of our brand and part of Femina's brand, part of my brand, part of what Peggy does and why it works so well together, is because we do try and bring that realness to the table so that it isn't performative or that we're not just giving people what we think they want to hear, but rather this is actually what we're doing and what we're going through right now.
Yeah, completely. I think you also don't have to share everything too.
Mhm. Mhm.
That's, you can share when you're ready and when the time is right, or not share at all. So you kind of get to decide and have both. And
Yeah.
I think we try to, because what we're doing is we're building possibilities and a vision. So of course you tend to lean towards the more positive the vision, because it is really easy to get caught up in all of the negative things that are happening on social media and in the news and all that. But it is definitely like remembering that it's not always sunshine and rainbows over here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that that's just what makes people real. It's just like what
Mm.
the realism piece is of it. I think the vision piece for me is like that can help me like when I'm feeling off or when I'm like, oh my gosh, like I have had a hard month or a hard week or whatever it is. That vision will pull me back too, right? That is
Mhm.
also part of my like, what am I trying to do? What is that value? What is that purpose? We've talked about this a lot, and sometimes I will literally go through my camera roll and like look at photos of myself and be like, right, I am powerful. I am confident. Like I love a great photo. Anyone who knows me knows that.
Mm.
I do not shy away from the camera, but that is like what also fuels me for when things feel down. And it's something that I actually was chatting yesterday with Meg about. Was so one of the reasons why I started a public profile on LinkedIn was because I didn't want to share. I had so many people trying to follow my private accounts on LinkedIn, and I didn't feel like they needed to see my kids. I didn't feel like they needed to see like things that I was doing with my extended family, like all those moments
Do
that
you
are
mean
just for
Instagram
me.
or LinkedIn?
Sorry, on
Yeah.
Instagram. Like, I just didn't feel like everyone needed all access to my life. Like, I'm not that important.
Yeah.
And so I started my public account, and like, I don't share my kids on my public account. I don't share photos of them. I don't do that sort of thing. I keep it like what I'm working on and what I'm excited about and things that I've accomplished. But it was funny when I was talking to Meg yesterday, I said Instagram also kind of gives me this ability to hide a little bit
Yeah.
because my community is actually on LinkedIn, which I built a really good brand, solid foundation, all of those sorts of things. But as I'm evolving as a leader, I'm almost nervous that my Instagram community or my LinkedIn community won't follow, won't stay on board with me as I evolve.
Mm.
And so I've kind of hidden in the Instagram world where it's a little more social, a little more fun, it's a little less professional, all of those sorts of things. And she really challenged me. She was like, "Well, you need to stop that. You need to like actually show up on both platforms. And like, why are you ignoring your whole community of all these people who are following you for you and following you for being a bolder leader and kind of
Mm.
more out there with like your messaging and that sort of thing? And why are you hiding from that?" And I was like, ah, right. Right. And so now it's been like sitting with me for the last 24 hours about like, again, that brand evolution that I'm so proud of. And I'm like so proud of the person I am, the leader I am, what I'm growing, how I'm evolving. Like, why don't I want my community to like see that? And why wouldn't I want to share all of that evolution? So I told her as incentive to get me photos faster that once she got those photos to me, then I would do a post on LinkedIn or something. Uh, but to share that again, that authentic piece and not being performative is like, no, then share that with where the people are who want to see it. And so that was like, that's my rambling thought, but it's just that piece of just making sure that I myself am also showing up on the platforms that I want to be showing up as myself and not shying
Yeah.
away from that.
I love that. Do you have any advice for someone who's never thought about their own brand, like someone who's, working for a company and thinking about, well, okay, like how do I explore this? Like what would be the first things that you would recommend
Mhm.
that they do?
I would say like look at what you are an expert in. Like look at what you know and what are the topics that you know. What do you enjoy talking about? What are things you enjoy doing? Like all of that kind of helps spark feeling and helps spark ideas of what you want to do. And I think when we think or I think some people think that when you have a brand that you have to be like a social media influencer, like that's the goal of a brand. And it's like that's one avenue, but that's like an extreme version. Your brand, again, gets to be your voice. So, what is the extension of your voice that you want people to hear? And how do you want to communicate that? I love doing that through really bold images. Not all people do. Other people like doing
Mm,
that through article writing or through like writing a book or through like blog posting or things like that. And it's like, so thinking about what am I an expert in? What do I like to do? How do I interact with people? And just like start capturing that, just writing those whatever comes to mind down and like keep looking at that and keep exploring
mm,
it. I think when it comes to a brand, getting a coach, like getting someone else who can really help you see, like this is what you did for me massively when we first met, was like
mm,
really getting me to see what I brought to the table because no matter what,
mhm,
we have blinders on, no matter what, we have biases. And I don't think that you can fully figure all of that out by yourself because you're going to talk yourself out of things.
mhm,
Like self talk's really strong when it comes to this sort of thing. And so get a
mm,
coach or get someone who can really help you and keep you accountable to really figuring out those pieces. But just start small. Don't think that you have to make a big splash. Just think about what do I have to say and how do I want to say it? And where do I want to say it? And start doing that. Some people don't have social media platforms, but they're like very well known conference speakers because they're on
mhm.
stages around the world all the time. You know, like there's all sorts of ways on how you can communicate and put your message out. And it's finding what feels good for you.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's starting with that. I remember those questions that I put
Mm,
together for you for your like
mhm,
what is it that you want to do? Like what is it that's kind of on your heart? And that really kind of pulled it out. And then again, like just the brand photos to represent that is always such a cool thing to have too.
honestly, like I recommend to everyone for no reason, like for your birthday, I don't care how you have to justify it. find a photographer, find a friend who's good at taking photos on their iPhone. Like, I don't care. Go and get some incredible photos of yourself. Like, it makes you feel so good. I made my girlfriends do this over the summer. I made the women at our experience retreat do it. I learned it in a photo shoot. I forget what photo shoot I did, but it's like start fake laughing. Start like just
Mhm.
laughing and like making goofy faces and like laughing about nothing, and you will just get so much joy that fills you. And then if you have someone capturing that, there is no way you're going to get those photos back and think anything other than like wonderful thoughts
Yeah.
about yourself. So it's like
Yeah.
get a photographer and just like get photos of yourself. Like it's the best feeling in the world. And then that again sparks creativity, sparks ideas, sparks whatever to just like go with it and just flow with that.
Totally.
Yeah.
I think that's great.
Yeah.
I think that's a
Awesome.
good place to end.
Yeah.
Wrap it.
That's good. I love where we're both going with this. I love how both of our brands are evolving and growing and how we are just totally leaning into them. I mean, I hope that this has sparked some incentive for some other ladies to get out there and start seeing how they can start building their own brand.
I know it will. I think this is going to trigger a lot of creativity among the community. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
excited to see.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thanks, Carmen. We will chat with you again next week.
Sounds great.
Bye.
Bye.
If this podcast resonates with you, it would mean so much to us if you could take 30 seconds to follow or subscribe to The Rebuild. This will make sure that you never miss an episode. Just go to the Rebuild Show page on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts and just tap the plus sign on the right-hand corner or click follow. This is super important to our podcast. While you're there, if you'd be willing to leave us a 5-star review and share an episode you love with a friend, we would be incredibly grateful. We love you and appreciate you very much.